All right, so like I said, we are going to be reviewing section 0, or we created a 0.1, which is just factoring, okay? And all of these are going to have our a equal to 1. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we're going to go through this process with our a values equal to 1. All right, so you guys have 8 problems, I think, on your homework. Let me double check. Yeah, so I'm going to probably do about 3 of them for you guys. I could do 4, but I want you guys just to have time in here to work on it, okay? Maybe get out of here without any homework. But I do want you to do more than just 4. So I'll do 3 of them for you guys, and then you guys can do the 5 in here. Ask questions if you want, okay? So here we go. So the X method, just to remind you, it basically looks like this, right? On the top, you're going to put your A times C. So A times C. And on the bottom, you're going to put your B value. Now, if you're wondering what the heck is my A times C and what's my B value, well, normally you have a function that looks like this, ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, the plus might be a minus. It kind of depends on what the problem is. But that's usually what they give you, and that's what you do with those terms, the a, the b, and the c values. Those are called your coefficients, okay? So you're going to put those on top. You're going to put those on the bottom, the way I showed you right there. What you're going to do is you have to figure out the numbers that go here, okay? Those two numbers have to multiply, to this. Whoops, I put plus even though I said multiply. They're going to multiply to this number, and they're going to add to this number. Okay? So I think I mentioned this before. Some people call this the butterfly method because if you kind of look at that, it looks like a butterfly, right? This is our X method. Once you get that, then those numbers that we got, those hash marks there, we put them into a factored form. Okay? So let's kind of go over this just to do a couple of problems for you guys and then let you guys work on this stuff in class. So example number 1, let's try this one. M squared, we're just going to factor these, okay? Plus 13m plus 30. Let me just put right here factor. Again, this is stuff we've done. This is not brand new, okay? So notice how my a term is 1, okay? Like I said, all these problems are going to be a equal to 1. So if a is 1, these are easier, okay? If a is not 1, they become a little bit more difficult, okay? So when I do my X method, I got to multiply my a term and my c term, okay? Now, if you want, you can list your a, b, c's to the side. I can put them over here. My a is a 1, my b is a 13, and my c is a 30. Okay, so those are my ABCs. So on the top of that X is A times C. So 1 times 30 is 30. On the bottom is my B term. That's going to be 13. Okay, so A is 1, B is 13, C is 30. Okay, now you're supposed to think of two numbers that multiply to 30 that add up to 13. Okay, now what two numbers multiply to 30 but add to 13? Say again. Negative 3 and a 10. Okay, so but negative 3 and 10, that multiplies to negative 30. So what if I make it a positive? A positive 3 and a positive 10, unless I misheard you. But a positive 3 and a positive 10, that multiplies to 30, and 3 plus 10 adds up to 13. So that means these are the numbers I'm looking for. Notice I don't have to do that division portion because my a term is a 1, right? So I'm basically done here. All I got to do is write my answer, m plus 3, m plus 10, and that's it. My answer is done. Okay, so this is how you factor these types of problems, the ones with a equal to 1. Tomorrow we're probably going to be doing the ones where a is not equal to 1. Okay, and then the next day we might do the grouping and the difference of two squares. Okay, but this is how it looks like when you have a trinomial and the a term is equal to 1. So that's one of your homework problems. Let's try another one. But before I do that, do you guys have any questions on this? I mean, hopefully this is just like reviewing. You're like, yeah, I know how to do this. I'm good. Because if it is, then that's great. Because the thing that's going to happen in chapter 5, when we get into chapter 5, is that you're going to be adding and subtracting fractions. But these fractions are not just going to be like a fifth plus a third. It's going to be like 1 over x squared minus 3x plus 5 plus 1 over x squared minus 16 equals to, so they're going to be fractions with like expressions all over the place. And the best way to do those is to factor things out, cancel stuff to make it easier, and then combine it. But in order to factor, you got to be able to factor, right? You can't just say like, oh, I'll just pick it up as I go along. So this is why we're doing the extra practice, just to kind of make sure you remember how to do this. So here's another one. We're going to factor p squared minus 4p plus 3. Okay. Again, if you want to list your ABCs, my A term, my B term, and my C term. A is 1, B is negative 4, and C is a positive 3. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I mean, it might be helpful if you're just trying to figure out what to plug in where. So I'm going to go ahead and do the X and multiply my A times C. So A times C, that's 1 times 3. That's a 3. And then my B term is a negative 4. So what two numbers should I use to get a 3 when I multiply and a negative 4 when I add? Think about it. What two numbers? Huh?
2 and 2.
If I do negative 2 and 2, if I multiply those, I get a positive 4. Remember, to multiply, I want to multiply to a 3. Multiply to a 3. Now, the negative 2 and negative 2 would have added to a negative 4. But it didn't multiply to a 3. Negative 1 and negative 3. So negative 1 times negative 3 is a positive 3, so that's good. Negative 1 plus a negative 3 is a negative 4, so that's good. So there we go. We got our multiplication and our addition down. So those are the two numbers I'm going to use. So I'm just going to put two parentheses here. And then p minus 1, p minus 3, and that's it. That's my answer. So again, these don't take too much work. You do have to think about it a little bit, but they don't take a lot of work to kind of get to what you need. Okay? So let's do one more, and then like I said, the rest I'm going to leave up to you guys. Any questions on this one? Remember, the two numbers you put in, multiply to the top, add to the bottom. Okay? So here's the last one. This will be example number 3. Again, these are homework problems, so we're not like wasting your time here doing random stuff and then you have to do everything on your own. We're still going to try to do at least 3 to 4 examples for you guys, at least. Sometimes I can do more, but at least get you started on it. So x squared plus 7x plus 12. So we're going to factor this, okay? So x method. Since it's a trinomial, I'm going to do x method. Remember, trinomial means 3 terms. Now, I am going to list my ABCs just since I did it on the other two. So it doesn't hurt, right? A is 1, we know that. B is 7. C is 12. So I multiply A times C, that goes on the top. That's a 12. And my B term is a 7. So what two numbers multiply to 12 add up to 7? 4 and 3. All right, so a positive 4, a positive 3. So those multiply to 12. They do add up to 7, so that's good. So I'm just going to write two parentheses here. X plus 4, X plus 3. And this is all you guys have to do for homework. I'm hoping it's going to be quick for you guys. Okay, I'm hoping it's not going to take you like 30 minutes. You know, you're just kind of guessing between two numbers, and that's about it. All right. So something not too terrible as a first assignment back, hopefully. So